I'm also teaching.
Yep.
Yeah, I teach at a private school in Toronto called the College of Sports Media. So I'm teaching there, teaching the young sports broadcasters, the next generation of them, and it's been great. I've been doing that for a few years now.
So Kim and I, before we got on, we're talking about sort of the state of the media, and Kim's been teaching and how difficult it is in that environment to kind of look somebody in the eye and say, "Good luck, because you're going to get a job." So what? And I think there's probably a different posture in the sports side of things because there's more appointment tuning. But I don't know what's the state of that.
It's a really great conversation, and this is not the first school I've taught at, and I've had that feeling ongoing for many years. Is how do you face the students who are looking to graduate and get into the industry when the industry has changed so much, and the same types of opportunities are not there.
Mm.
However, there are different opportunities with podcasting, and there are lots of opportunities in sports behind the scenes. I've had a number of students graduate and then move on into news. It's actually surprising to me, but it is a thing. A lot of students end up landing in the industry in one form or another. It has changed. Perhaps their expectations are different now too, because they're sort of seeing what is available for them. When we were going to school for broadcasting, you might think about going to another market and starting to do overnights, and those jobs really don't exist the same way that they used to. But I am always pleasantly surprised that there still tend to be many opportunities. And I should add that a number of students also do go to different parts of Canada for different opportunities.
Yeah, what are you finding, Kim? Because I know that the posture in some programs has changed considerably, where it used to be strictly either radio, television, or there was a journalism stream, or there was a communications and a marketing stream. We're
Mm.
starting to see some of that integrated now more than ever.
Oh, very much so. And just picking up on what Barb said in terms of podcasting. So, I teach in a radio broadcast program, but also a journalism program. And we've rebuilt the radio broadcast program to include a full specialty stream of podcasting, on air, behind the scenes, distribution, selling it, because that's where our students coming in really want to go. They want to be podcasters. They want to work for a podcast company. That being said, something that now is become part of our discussion in the classrooms in a broadcasting space, whether it's journalism or radio, is this: that the skills you learn here in this course are foundational, and it's about being able to articulate a message well, being able to present ideas in a story well, being able to influence and convince, whether you're in a boardroom or you're telling a story behind the microphone to an audience. Those skills will serve you well in whatever career ultimately you find yourself in. So we kind of take it out of just broadcasting.
I think
Well,
that's a great. Can I add to
yeah,
that
yeah.
just quickly? Because one of the things that I do tell my students at the very beginning is whether or not you are passionate about what I am teaching you, which is essentially how to host a talk show and do radio roundtables. Whether you love it or not, you're going to end up with a whole new skill set. And I think Kim has a great point in terms of storytelling, communicating, learning how to edit your ideas to get the message across without going on and on. And a lot of those skills are very transferable as well. What I'm doing now is teaching. Part of our teaching is the two different roles for producer. We're teaching content producing and we're teaching technical producing. And what we're finding is that a lot of the entry level positions are just that. So it's a great skill for them to learn.
Well, what's interesting to me is the storytelling part of it, and we three here suffer from what I like to call the curse of knowledge, and that is to say, we take it for granted. Even it doesn't matter how often I will meet a client, and they want to tell a great story about their mission or whatever it is their organization is doing to save the world or the planet or whatever. They've got this great story, but they really first probably don't know how to frame it. They may not even understand the depth of the story. But then, to your point, Kim, how do you articulate that so
Yeah.
that you're making eye contact with that audience that you can't see? So we all kind of take, this is in our DNA, right? And it just, every time I turn the page, whether it's in that storytelling or media training, whatever it might be, that's where this skill set is taking people. And so for those of you who are thinking, oh my God, I got this useless degree. No. What you have here is an opportunity to use those skills to support for a long time in some cases. I mean, these are long-term relationships. But the one thing that I realized as soon as I got out of, the broadcast world full time, and I sat down and I wrote down, okay, why the hell would anybody hire me? What is it that I do is of value to somebody else? And it took a while, but I kind of, wrote it all down, and it worked. Now, that was by accident. So part of this has to also be inspiring or foundationally teaching some level of entrepreneurial spirit. And I wonder where that comes in, because all three of us came out of a newsroom environment where you did what you were told. And that doesn't always work when you're an entrepreneur. And now you're both we're all three in that kind of space.
I don't want to belabor this because I know we have lots to cover today, but what you just said is part of this new podcasting specialty stream, is having to understand how you have to put in the work to make money from this venture. And the students just don't have their heads wrapped around it. It's very difficult, moving on, independently. But for students to understand, oh, I gotta make money. How do I do that? It's a whole big thing. And one more note. So, Dave, when I was doing my master's, it's a business administration master's, and I'm in these groups with, directors and managers and leaders and those who want to be promoted to CEO, and smart people who struggle with articulating a message, presenting well. And I'm like, there's a whole new revenue opportunity here for media literacy in business.
Oh, entirely. But even at that, then, Barb, this is something that has to, I think, start earlier. And I've argued that entrepreneurial skill and courage, the willingness to recognize there is benefit in failure, that should start at an elementary curriculum.
Oh, absolutely. I think that as we talk about the changing landscape, and as we talk about people moving more toward an entrepreneurial situation, it's a great lesson for, say, young broadcasters who think, I'd be great, I would love to have a podcast. Well, turning on a mic and turning on a camera and doing a podcast is not the difficult part. The difficult part is figuring out how to make money from it, because so much more goes into it. And I think that's where the real learning comes in. And it's a great education for people too, because you guys know, having worked in the industry, people just assume you sit down, turn on the mic and go, and they don't factor in the hours and hours of prep that go into it. So now add to that, finding a way to sell your product.
Well, and it's to sell your value. I think that really is what the conclusion that I came to. So for those of you who are struggling and wondering, what the hell should I do? You've just had a 10-minute class in the benefits of that kind of training, because this was not on our agenda today to talk about.
But we could go on.
We could go on. We could.